Following every single bill, floor vote, or committee hearing at the Capitol would be impossible. But the laws passed there still shape your everyday life. So if you've ever wondered how an idea actually becomes law in Arizona, the state legislature is where it all starts. Understanding the legislative process isn't just important for those wielding power. It matters for anyone who is impacted by our state government. So that includes you. When you know how a bill moves through the system, you can see where influence is exercised, where decisions get made, and most importantly, where the public can step in and be heard. Now, let's break down what happens for a bill to become a law. Every bill begins as an idea. A state legislator might bring forward a proposal based on concerns from a constituent, advocacy groups, lobbyists, or their own policy priorities. Once an idea is drafted and filed, it becomes a bill and is assigned a number. At that moment, the idea officially enters Arizona's legislative process. The first stop for all of these new bills is called the first reading. This happens on the floor of the chamber where the bill was introduced. So if a senator filed the bill, its first reading is in the Senate chamber. If a House representative filed the bill, the first reading is in the House. There's no debate here, and it's mostly procedural. The purpose is to officially introduce the bill and to assign it one or more committees for review. And this is where things really start picking up. Committees are often the most powerful gatekeepers in the entire legislative process. Each bill is sent to a committee that most closely matches its subject matter, like education, health, or judiciary. Committees hold public hearings where lawmakers hear testimony from experts, advocacy organizations, and everyday Arizonans about the bill and whether it should be passed. This is one of the most important opportunities for public input. If you want to influence legislation, this is the stage where your voice can have a major impact. After discussion and debate, committee members vote on whether the bill should be moved forward or be amended. If a bill is held in committee, it usually goes no further. Many bills never make it out of committee at all, which is why committee leadership holds so much influence over what the legislature actually considers. If a bill does pass committee, it returns to the chamber floor for a second reading. Like the first, this step is mostly procedural and sets the stage for a more detailed debate. That debate happens during the Committee of the Whole, often abbreviated as COW, where the entire chamber considers the bill line by line. Lawmakers can offer amendments, debate the bill's merits, or even introduce a strike everything amendment that replaces the bill's original language entirely. Once that process wraps up, the bill moves to the third reading and the final vote. This is the last chance for debate in the chamber where the bill was originally introduced. At this time, lawmakers will sometimes explain their position and try to persuade their colleagues to vote the same as them. To pass, a bill needs a majority vote. That means at least 16 votes in the Senate or 31 votes in the House. Okay, that was a lot, but let's keep going. If the bill passes, it is not done yet. Next comes crossover. The bill moves to the opposite chamber and goes through the entire process all over again. So if the bill was created in the House, it will be then sent to the Senate for another cycle through the process I just explained. Committee hearings, floor readings, committee of the whole, and a final vote. The same goes for the Senate bills crossing into the House. This ensures that both the House and the Senate fully review and debate the proposal. It's a lengthy process, but for better or for worse, there's also a shortcut. If both chambers pass the same version of the bill in their respective chambers, aka mirror bills, they can move forward without having to cross over. But if they pass different versions, then the bill goes to a conference committee. Lawmakers from both chambers work together to hammer out a compromise. That final version must be approved by both the House and the Senate before it can continue. Once the legislature votes to pass a final version of a bill, be it through the typical crossover format or conference committees, the bill is then finally sent to the governor. Unless it's a concurrent resolution, more on that in a sec. But if it is a normal bill, then the governor can sign it, veto it, or take no action at all. If the governor does nothing, the bill automatically becomes law after 5 days. If the governor vetoes a bill, then the legislature can try to override that veto with a 2/3 vote in both chambers. Now, the bills that make it through the legislature and survive the governor's veto pen don't go into effect immediately. They become enforceable law on the general effective date, which is 90 days after the legislature adjourns. But if the bill was a House or Senate concurrent resolution, it doesn't need the governor's approval at all and doesn't go into effect on the same date as all of the other bills. It actually goes straight to the voters on the next general election ballot as a proposition and needs a simple majority to pass. It's a long process, but that's by design. It allows for debate, revision, and public participation at multiple stages. Even though it can be confusing at first, when you understand how this system works, you are better equipped to track legislation, speak up at the right moments, and hold elected officials accountable. Because whether they're about civil rights, criminal justice, immigration, voting rights, and so much more, the laws passed at the state capitol shape what Arizona looks like today and how it will look tomorrow. Democracy works best when people stay informed, stay engaged, and make their voices heard. In our next video, we'll talk about how you can get involved in this advocacy during the legislative session. So thanks for watching.